Hey, it's Doodlebud here. I have 4 pens that I recently received from Aliexpress. They actually contacted me and said they'd give me $100 to spend on some pens. So these are them. And on top of that, offer a discount code to my viewers. So I'm going to tell you all about that, plus do a pen review. It's going to be this one over here today. Let's get to it. So I had an interesting message come into my Gmail, and it was from someone at Aliexpress, and they saw my video of the Wingsung 699 versus the Pilot 823. You can click on the video if you haven't seen that one. They really liked it, and they said they'd like to offer some free pens for me to review, and on top of that, be able to give viewers a discount code. So these are the ones I got. The details about how the discount and all that stuff, I'm going to get into that really quick. Also, information will be down on the bottom, but just these will be some other pens coming up for review. We got this 2-in-1 titanium, so it fountain pen does ballpoint as well, and it's got this little glass breaker, they say. We have a K-glue pen on here as well to review. That's been working quite well. And then some interesting, I saw they had some, I've never seen these before, special Lamy Safari editions, and they have all these neat little parts and features to it as well. I'm going to do individual reviews on these pens, but these look kind of neat. They had a whole bunch, so I thought I'd pick some that I haven't reviewed before, and the one I chose to review is this little Delike solid brass pocket fountain pen. So I've been using all these pens. Their videos will be coming out soon. Going to get to this review today, but I'll give you just a quick little rundown on what I understand of how the discount works for you guys right now. So what you essentially do is always check the description on the videos, but you'll have a discount code at checkout to use. The code is DOOD, or DOOD. And how it works, it's if you do a $20 spend on US dollars, of course, you get $4 off the purchase. And this is without shipping, so the purchase price has to be $20. If it's $19 plus $1 for shipping, it doesn't work. So $20 in gear, you get $4 off. From what I can tell so far, it doesn't seem to be a sliding scale. It's just a flat rate so far. They did this as a trial with me. We're going to see how this goes. I have no idea what to expect out of any of this, but it goes through until the end of June. So June 30th of this year, 2022. This offer here is available. So the code is DOOD. I feel associated with Snoop Dogg here somehow. You spend $20, you get $4 off till the end of June. And I've been playing with it, and it seems it works on any kind of fountain pen stationery related items. So the pens that I'm going to review, it's going to work on those. Obviously, there will be a link for each pen I do. But on top of that, I was just playing with some other pens. There's some other pens I'm interested in as well. I thought, oh, well, does the discount code work there? I plugged it in and it did. So it's not a site-wide thing, but it just seems in the universe of pens and stationery things. I even tried like a wax seal kit. It worked on there as well. So I don't know the exact in and outs of it. This is all I know so far. Let's get to the pen review. So this is what we're checking out today. This is from Delike. This is the, I believe it's called the Hunyuan, and it's a little brass pocket pen, as I mentioned there. There's some information here on the bottom. I'm not very fluent, so not sure what that means, but it is an extra fine nib. Comes in this nice little tin. It's, quite nice. It feels reasonably well made, so that's kind of nice. You can keep other bits of ink cartridges and other stuff in here if you don't want to keep your pen in here, obviously. But here we are with the pen. I don't know what type of material it is, but some type of foamy stuff. It pops out. It's in there nice and secure. Again, finger holes are a bit of a challenge for me. There we go. Get that out of the way. And what you got here is a solid brass pen. So we're going to roll through. I'm going to start it off, of course, with a few glam shots so you can get some nice close-ups. Going to run you through the features, do some size comparisons, go over what I like, what I don't like. But if you can't wait to the end, I'll just let you know this thing's been performing pretty well. A few little things I would like to see improvements with, but as far as pen operating, I haven't had any issues whatsoever. So let's get you some close-up shots. Figured we'd start off with some details. So the pen weighs in about 39.7 grams. That's without the converter in there. The cap is about 13, so about 26 in the body. We'll move that out of the way and get you some overall dimensions of the pen. The body itself here, the main part of the barrel, we're talking what's that, about 10.9 millimeters. The cap, the thickest part, let's call that 12. Overall, I think this is like 106, somewhere around there. Maybe a little change, 106.1, 106.15, something like that, whatever that is. Let's just say 106 millimeters for what type of stuff we're doing. You can cap the pen on there, I should say post the pen like that, and it grows considerably to, let's say, just a little under 138 millimeters. So decent size overall. We have a little concave grip section here, if the camera can focus. Just a slight, let's see what that measurement is, kind of in the middle, about 9.4 or so. So small little pen, very, very similar size-wise to a Kaweco Sport. Let me get a few pens right now for a size comparison. Checking out a couple other pens. We got the Kaweco Sport right beside it, and then there's this other Kaweco Sport inspired pen that you can find on Aliexpress as well, like the Irorita. And then we got a really nice one here. That's the Gravitas Pocket Pen. And here we are again, same pen, same order with everybody posted. But I have to say, as far as dimensions and size and everything, very, very close to the Kaweco Sports. I know you can get the Kaweco in a heavy metal version, like say a brass pen. So this one's like that, but this one is all smooth overall body and stuff like that. They're very close dimensions. So if you like this one, this will be right up your alley as well. But let's take this apart. Let me show you the parts and run through it. We're going to do a writing sample on here as well and a few other things. So it comes apart quite easily. It does have a cartridge, a converter included. Here it is. I got some ink already in there, but the pen's quite easy to take apart. As you can see, the bits just come out, easy for cleaning as well. I give you guys a quick close-up of the nib and feed unit here while I'm going to do myself a favor and put just a dab of grease here on the threads before I put it back into the main pen body. Just a dab will do ya. And while I'm doing that, I saw this tiny little hole here. I thought, what is that? So I think that's just a slight little mistake there with the injection molding on the feed unit, but whatever, it is what it is here, honestly, I should say, on the nib housing. But a little grease on there goes a long ways, just so you don't strip things out. Super high quality, extra fine Delike. And here's the little feed that goes with it as well. Looks like the same type of size of nib that you would get on your Kaweco, and just goes in there. I'm going to put the cartridge in here now. Sorry, converter, I should say. Getting my terminology all mixed up. It's one of those slidey dealies. And as far as size, it's not an international standard. It's a slightly different size on here. Actually, I have this bag. I bought this bag of cartridges on AliExpress as well. Comes 50 of them with this blue ink. I didn't know much about them. 2.6 millimeter. That doesn't fit the international standard pens that we're all kind of used to, but it seems to be the one that would fit in here just fine. So I was just playing around here and go, yep, that's the deal. So if I crack that, that would fit on there just perfectly. 2.6 millimeter cartridges. Got the converter on here. I'm just going to force a little ink, I should say, into the feed unit here because I cleaned everything out. There we go. And we'll do some writing with it. So here we got the Delike. It says on the title, the Hunyuan. And also on the box here, I saw this reference, this DH0.11E. So I don't know if that means anything as well. The naming's always a little bit funny. But essentially for this purposes, I'm calling it the brass pocket pen. The nib, of course, it's steel, and this is an extra fine. The ink I'm using today, this is from Monteverde, and this is the Fire Opal. I don't have any kind of brassy inks, and I haven't used this in a while, so I figured, why not? As far as nib performance, wetness, like right out of the gate here, right out of the box, when I used it, been using it for, I don't know, I guess a week and a half, maybe it's been 2 weeks. It has been just fantastic. It hasn't misfired once. There is really no line variation. You might just get a little more ink or something like that. Reverse, yeah, it's okay. It's always hit and miss. Unless a pen is specifically tuned to be reverse, you don't know what you're going to get. But it writes quite well. It's very smooth. As good as you can expect for an extra fine nib. There's no nib misalignment. I checked the gap there with my feeler gauge. It's essentially spot on where it should be for a nib point of this size as well. Yeah, alignment's good. Wetness is good. It's not scratchy. The feedback is appropriate. So as far as writing experience goes, in a little pocket pen like this, if you just want to write some quick notes, you know, you can even go a little bit longer, just because I find, you know, the Sport here is a very well-built pen, but it's just too light for me. I guess that's why they have the brass and other versions, aluminum and all that as well. So I do, even though it's smaller, I find the weight difference does improve it quite a bit for me as well. But for writing performance, like I said, I've been very happy with the pen. Works quite well. I'm going to get into some of the little finer details and features of the pen and some little things, a quick little few tips on it. I think they could improve it just a little bit more, but overall it's been working pretty good. So my impressions of the pen as far as like likes and dislikes, it's solid. There's really no crazy burrs on here. You know, you can feel the threads, but you're going to feel threads on a metal pen. That's just the way it is. There's nothing really that stands out as really bad made or deal breakers for me, or huge errors or issues or anything as well. It's, you know, the finish on it, it's reasonable for this price point. Is it flawless? Is it absolutely perfect? No. But for this price point and being an all metal pen, I think it's going to be as really as good as you're going to get on that. It does feel like the outside has some type of coating. It's just not normally how brass typically feels. Maybe it's just a clear coat that goes on there. I'm not 100% sure. I'm almost thinking of getting a Scotch-Brite pad or something like that, or even some really fine sandpaper, and just maybe taking that off, because I don't mind if the pen patinas. There are some other finishes that are on there. Maybe the one I chose has that, but it just feels like there's sort of something on there. The end of the pen here, you know, they're round on both ends, as you can see, to accommodate threads here and here, I guess, just to sort of balance it. It tapers off though, so it has a little taper, and then as you can see there, just to break that corner, there's a teeny little step, so there's a little chamfer that goes on there with it too. So it's weird that they didn't just, you know, take that chamfer, that taper a little bit all the way to the top, but they broke that edge there a little bit, and it goes to be round on this end. The threads on the pen are relatively smooth. Let's see how many turns it takes to take it off with the full revolution. I'll put a little ink here. There we go. Now we can see it. With a smooth pen, it's tough to have any type of reference, but let's see how many turns. 1, yeah, about 2 1/4 turns to take the cap off all the way, and then to spin it on the back, I think it's even quicker here. Yeah, about 1 3/4 turns to post the pen. So it goes to a reasonable length here when you post it to make it much more respectable. I mean, if you got to jot something down quick, of course you can do that with the pen, but anything of any significant length as far as writing, you know, you're going to want to post the pen on here as well. The threads are decent, but they're, like I said, there's a couple little things in here. Again, for the price point, you're going to see some tool chatter. You can see in the bottom there, if we can get some type of focus. There we go. So you can see it's not perfect and flawless down there in the bore. Again, for this price point, that's how it's going to go. Threads, they do work well. A couple little things I would suggest is you just ditch the first thread or two on the cap here, because you can just have a tendency for threads to pull out of the cap. And one thing I would like to see on the pen, as far as a slight design update, again, it wouldn't cost a ton much more, but instead of a straight bore all the way through the bottom, you would have a little extra ring that you put in there. That way it seals against the end of the section. And that would help with sealing. I haven't had it hard start on me once, or dry up, but what it would act as is a thread stop, just because the cap does go over top of the body, so you're relying on it to stop threading by you stop threading. So just be cautious with that. If you are a heavy hand person and you want to make sure that's nice and snug, you probably are going to damage those threads over time. Having that piece of metal up there in the cap to act to help seal, but also as a thread stop, that's how you would do that on a pen like this. Because on other pens, if it's flush, the end of the cap will touch onto the body, and you can't overdo it. In this case, you could if you wanted to. So that'd be one little recommendation I would make in there on the drawing. And then same thing here. It's not as much here. It feels like it's a little more natural stop, but again, don't overdo it. you could start to damage those threads. Having a stop there, that's not going to work, because then it would hit on the stop here. So you would have to either taper this to make this a cap that slips over top, or you're going to have to grow this on the backside so these two surfaces mate up. But this one doesn't feel as much of a concern to me on there. It's just on the main body. When you cap the pen like that, you just got to watch out. Don't overdo it. Everywhere else, the threads are pretty decent onto the body here as well. The converter fits in there reasonably solid. It's this, it's not a super high-end converter, but it does the job. It's one of those plunger styles. Just down you go, pull it back up. So pretty quick on the draw there as well. So I just had another quick look on the Aliexpress site. I'm going to have a link down there in the description for you as well. And sometimes if that link, if they're out, you can just Google, well, I shouldn't say Google, search an Ali for this pen, and you might find some other listings for it. And I believe the coupon code, the discount code, will work there as well. It does seem this has a coating, because they mentioned it comes in two colors. There's a black one, and the black one has some knurling here on the body as well. And they also call it gold. So probably something to do just to make it a little bit more shiny, a little more golden color than just rather a raw brass. If the coating does wear off over time, you're probably not going to notice as much with this one, but I guess maybe with the black you would see if it does chip and just wear and tear, keeping this in your pocket, getting knocked around. You could always, like I said, just sand it down, and then you got a straight raw brass pen as well. Nothing wrong with that. As far as overall performance, it has worked quite well for me. I haven't had any issues. Hasn't leaked. It's worked every single time I picked it up. It's written, the line width, the wetness, all that is pretty much spot on. Is it going to win Amazing Design of the Year award for a pen? No, it's pretty basic, and we see other pens that are similar to this, but it does the job. Doesn't kill the bank. I think this pen goes for about $18.42 Canadian. So my guess, that's about $15 US, and whatever the exchange rate is. I think it's a fair price. Are you going to have an absolutely perfect, blemish-free, spotless pen for $15? Of course not. No. If you spend quite a bit more, 60, 80, 100 plus, you get some extra little finer details and refinements on those pens. But if you're looking for something a little more budget conscious, knockabout pen, not have to worry so much about it, or if it gets lost, or like I said, you're a student. I couldn't drop $100 on a pen when I was a student. $15 would probably be kind of the limit for me back in my student days. So yeah, this could do the trick for that. Keep it in your pocket. Like I said, hasn't misfired on me. It's done the job the pen should do. So a nice little pen that comes in quite a nice little box and does a job of writing nice little notes. So there you go. I've actually read a few of the viewers mention these pens to me, and someone actually has quite a few of them apparently, and wanted a review. So that kind of influenced me a little bit on picking one of these. I was curious how they are as well. Go check it out on Aliexpress. I got other stuff coming, and maybe you haven't used them before. Well, here's an opportunity. You get some savings. I don't know how this is all going to work, if this is going to last or what. This is just a pilot thing they said for me, so we're going to see how this goes. I got 3 more pens to review. Check it out, and until then, we will catch you next time.